Welcome to the latest episode of CRDA's Resources for Resiliency. We're going to keep it in-house today with our own Jacki Renegar. Jacki has a part of our One Region Ready work that has been charged with safely reopening the region's economy, has put together a data team that has been tracking key indicators of our region's economic data to form a baseline to gauge how we're doing. So happy to have Jacki with us today to maybe share some insights from what she's seen over the past few weeks and to see where we may be headed. How is the regional recovery going?
I'd say big picture, our economic recovery is going pretty well, according to the numbers that we have so far through early July. Of course, April was the biggest month that our metro area showed its largest negative in economic impact. But May was much improved over April, and then June was a little better, and early July data so far is even much improved over that. So we're on the right trajectory overall.
That's great to hear. I know our medical data is not trending in as good a direction, but it's great to hear you talk about the positives of our economic data. So tell us, what are some of the key indicators that you're watching?
So in addition to the normal monthly indicators that we track, like labor force, employment by sector, port and airport activity, retail sales, and things like that, we're also trying to follow the Federal Reserve's methodology of watching things like the unemployment and local consumer spending on a weekly basis. That gives us more real-time data than those monthly indicators that we track all along. And since unemployment for our metro is only published on a monthly basis, we're watching a proxy for that, weekly unemployment insurance claims for our three counties. It's kind of a leading indicator of what that unemployment situation is and will be. And then the weekly consumer spending that we're tracking serves as a proxy for what is an equivalent for our local GDP, since consumer spending is almost 70% of our local economy, just like at the national level. So watching the consumer spending tells us how the local economy is tracking overall.
Very good to hear that we've got positive signs and positive momentum in our local economy. But are there any troubling signs that you've seen, or what could potentially trip us up as we continue to reopen?
Well, right now, we're not seeing signs in the economic data that is troubling. That's on the right trajectory. But the medical data that the rest of the team is watching is showing increases in cases at a lightning pace, which on its own might not be completely troubling, but the hospitalizations are on that same trajectory. And that is not a good thing, because when you link the increased cases and hospitalizations and that to the economic perspective, more sickness in the region is going to mean that businesses have trouble finding and keeping their workforce, which in turn is going to affect the economic activity and ability for our economic recovery to happen. So that is not the right trajectory we want to see.
As Mike Carter, our friend on our board of directors, says, a healthy economy requires a healthy workforce. And so the linkage is definitely there, and we're hopeful that we can maybe stop the spread and spike in recent cases. Is there anything that I'm missing in terms of, maybe some great sources of data that people could go and play with on their own to see some of what you're talking about?
Well, one news source that we have located is actually done by Harvard and Brown universities and funded by the Gates Foundation. It's called tracktherecovery.org. And any communities can go there and see on a county level, a metro level, a state level, and nationally what is going on in terms of their consumer spending and other economic indicators such as business openings, employment levels, and that kind of thing. That's a new source for local level data. And then the U.S. Census Bureau, since this whole COVID-19 situation occurred, Census Bureau has begun doing small business pulse surveys every week. And so folks can go to the U.S. Census Bureau's website at census.gov or just Google Census Bureau Business Pulse surveys, and they'll find that they can look at every state in the nation and then nationally, how small businesses are reacting and how they're performing and what their outlook is for the near future.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us. You're one of the best in the business. You're recognized as such, and we're very lucky to have you on our team, and obviously very lucky to have you sharing a little bit of data with us today. So thank you for the time, and we look forward to hearing more good news, hopefully in the coming months.